Hello, Uncle from TacticalGamer.com here. I'm just adding to the sector control series of editor tutorials. I've created that TvT and we played it the other day, admins versus players, and I was just working on it to polish it up a little bit and get it ready for regular gameplay on the server. One of the things that we noticed was that it needed a warm-up timer so that players can't leave their base for whatever you want, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, that sort of thing, because it gives a chance for leaders can look at the briefing screen and come up with a plan, but you also need to kind of have a look at the ammo box and see what you got for assets, and seeing is believing. And then you need a few minutes for everybody to grab the kit, get organized into what vehicles you're going to use, and then get ready to go. So it gives a little time for that. So I wanted to create a couple of things here. So I created a marker that's here, and let me separate these out a little bit. I've got a trigger that detects whether or not independent is in this 300 meter by 300 meter zone around the blue 4 base. And if independent is present, then for each independent that is in this trigger, which is this list, set their damage to 1, so it instantly kill them. Alright, so if anybody tries to get over here at any time during the mission and camp the spawn of blue 4, that they would be instantly killed. Alright, so that's 300 meters. I also then created this marker that was 300 meters. Alright, it's blue and it's just got some diagonal lines through it, just as a way of indicating to players that if you get out of this zone, okay, and there's the trigger over here, and that's why, which you won't see in game, but you will see this blue line marker so that you would know where it is and place them right on top of each other. I also then am going to use a script for the warm-up timer. Alright, so I just placed an object of it's an invisible helipad, alright, and I just called it West Base. Alright, and I'm going to put these 3 things together in the exact same spot. So I zoom right in, put them right on top of each other, and we're going to use that object in the script to see if a player leaves leaves this zone within the 2 minutes, let's say, warm-up timer, that they will be killed. Alright, so I wrote a script to do that instead of using editor stuff to do it, and basically set up the same thing on the independent side. Where are they? There they are. Right, and they're all just placed right on top of each other so that the 300 meter boundaries all line up. Players know, blue 4 know that they can't go into this zone, independents know they can't leave it until the warm-up timer is over. Okay, so that's pretty darn simple. Let me just move over to my scripts and I'll show you how that worked out. I started by creating some mission parameters, and that should really be a different video, but I'll show you the script first and then I'll do a second one with the mission parameters. Let's see, on initserver.sqf, what did we do? All I did in here is I had added 2 lines. Start warm-up script to give players time to gear up and limit them to their base until warm-up time is over. And then it just executes one script that I stored in the UNC folder called warmup.sqf. And it's going to handle a server-side portion of the script and a client-side portion of the script. Alright, there's also down here some nifty little stuff that I got out one of Solo's missions that is going to say that you're playing at TacticalGamer.com and do not leave the base until notified, just to make sure that you know not to just go grab a vehicle and try and get the hell out of there, because you're going to get hurt. Okay, then let's see the other one. So let's look at the actual script. I'll walk you through this. The first block is run only on the server. If it's server, and it does everything between these curly brackets from there to there. All right. Basically, I've made a list of all the vehicles that are in the mission, and I named them like B for blue 1, blue 2, blue 3. There were 6 vehicles on either side, so I just named them like that. And then I made that a public variable, the array of all the vehicles, because I'm going to use that later. All right. Then basically for all of those vehicles, I'm going to set all of their fuel to 0 so that players can't jump in and drive them away. Right? So they can pack the vehicles full of inventory, but they won't be able to drive them. It'll reduce the chances that they'll drive out of the zone and get killed for no reason, even though they can't read the warning that says don't do that. Anyway, because the vehicles are immediately spawned in and owned by the server, this will be just fine. Waits 2 seconds, and then it's going to spawn the rest of this. Okay? So it's going to then execute this as separate code. Alright, so I'll get into this later. The warm-up timer, let's say, is 2 minutes. All you need to know is that warm-up value is going to equal 120. And that'll be the next video, is how the parameters work. Okay, I say warm-up timer is active is equal to true, and public variable that. Basically, I'm going to wait a couple of seconds and then wait again. I can't remember exactly the reason why I thought I should do that, but just in case. Anyway, it waits until the time on the server. When the server starts running the simulation, it starts counting the seconds from 0 to whatever. So if it's like 2 hours, it's whatever, 2,500 or something like that seconds. Anyway, so when time is greater than warm-up value, which is 120 seconds, so after 2 minutes, then it's going to say warm-up timer is false and broadcast that to all the connected clients. We're going to use that in this block of code to stop it. All right, so that to allow then the players to leave. Then at the end of that, then it's going to then say, it's basically running set fuel again, just the same thing as this, but because a player may have gotten into one of those vehicles, and when you get into the driver's seat, then the vehicle is now actually owned by your computer. I had to use remote exec. So for each one of those vehicles, all right, then, which is now X, so then it's going to set fuel to be 1, and it's going to execute that code on the owner of the vehicle. So whatever client owns that vehicle, there you go. So it sets the fuel all back up the full before you leave. All right, that's the server side part. So if you're not the server, okay, if you have an interface, you're a player, then it's going to run all of this code down to here. Okay, first thing it does is say run is equal to true. It's just going to basically control a loop. Player's side equals side player, so that I know what side you're on, because if this portion runs on a connected client. If I'm blue 4, then I'm on the west side. If I am independent or AAF, playing as the independents, then I would be on independent. And then it just gives me another little notification that shows up really when you're on the map screen, again to try and warn you, do not leave your base until notified. Then it's basically running a while run or while do loop, and the while do loop runs from this curly bracket down to here, and because run is equal to true, right, this condition is true, it's going to then do this little bit of code until run is no longer equals the false, or is equal to false. I have a variable called warned, which is equal to false, and then I've got 2 little blocks here that do something. Okay, remember warm-up timer was a public variable that was set up here on the server side. So warm-up timer is active when you're within the 2 minutes. It's true. So if you're within the first 2 minutes of the mission, okay, or if you're not within the first 2 minutes of the mission, then what it's going to do is exit with, which means it'll no longer run any of this code. It'll exit this loop with run equals false, just as a fail-safe to make sure it doesn't try to do it again, whatever happens. And it's going to give you a message on the screen that says, you may leave your base, game is on. Okay? If that's not true, then I've got two little things that it does here. So if player side is west, so if you're on the west side, and you are, the distance the player is from the west base is greater than 300 meters, which was outside that zone, and if not warned, all right, because warned is false, so if you were not warned yet, then it's going to issue you a warning. Get back in base within 15 seconds or be killed. All right, it's just plain text in the middle of the screen, and it'll fade out in 13 seconds. It waits 15 seconds, and then it says that warned is true. Okay, so it's automatically going to do the waiting right here. And the same thing again for independence. So if you're on independent side, whoops, what did I just do? If you're on the independent side and you're further than 300 meters from the independent base, which is this little bit right here, and if you haven't been warned yet, then issue the warning, wait 15 seconds, and then say that warned equals true so that we know you've been warned. Okay, then it does two more last little blocks. It says, if you are on the west side and you are still greater than 301 meters away from the invisible helipad, which we called West Base, and if you have been warned already, then set your damage to full and you will die instantly. Right? And it does the same thing for the independent side. Right? Then it would go back up here, run is still true, all right, set warned to be false, and then run through this again. Right? If you are in the warm-up base, I might even put a little sleep down here, because the while do loop is down to here, so just to make sure it doesn't run every single cycle, I might put in a sleep. 0.2, just to make sure that it doesn't run every single cycle. Alright, then it's going to go back and check it. Okay, I'm in with the safe zone. Okay, the mission, the warm-up timer isn't over. So that's how that works. Pretty simple. Alright, so I'm back in the mission. There was a reason why I put that code in the other version of the I think it was initserver.sqf, because I was getting an undeclared variable script error. Anyway, my mission has started. Now I should be able to go over to a vehicle, get in as driver, and it will show that I have no, I can't go anywhere. I've got no fuel. Alright, so now if I was to, let's say, move over to another area, I think I might even have this. Okay, so I've already got this set up. So I execute this, I should be outside the zone. Damn it. Oh, there we go. So I'm getting the warning, get it back in base within 15 seconds or be killed. And it's not going to end well for me. Fast forward. We're almost at the end of 2 minutes. End of 2 minutes. I get should get a new notification. Oh, but my script won't end because I am not on Blue 4. There we go. You may leave your base. Game is on. So now I should respawn, and there should be fuel in my vehicle. As you can see, I've lost 2 points for a vehicle. So it's interesting, I got in the vehicle, and because I took ownership of it and then left the area, it had to respawn it. So now I have fuel and I can leave the base. So that's how it works. Uncle from tacticalgamer.com. Hope you create some great sector control missions, and I hope to see you in game. Ciao for now.